The entire Fortnite Chapter 3 storyline explained. On March 20th, the Imagined Order declared war on the Seven, beginning a coordinated attack to take down the group, establish control of the island, and stomp out the Resistance. To fight off the armada of combat blimps and drills, the Seven have to be calculated with their plans, and that'll start with the group reuniting. After years, the missing members of the Seven have returned to the fight, and we are finally introduced to the Imagined and the Origin, with one final member missing. Their whereabouts have been unexplained this entire time, with their arrival raising a ton of questions, but for now, the group is completely focused on survival. The Imagined Order controls Tilted Towers, Daily Bugle, and Coney Crossroads, with their headquarters stationed at Command Cavern. They've set up multiple combat blimps to take air superiority, and the Seven are scrambling to defend themselves. The group has managed to hold on to the Joneses, Synapse Station, and other small parts of the island, with their base of operations at the Sanctuary. At first, they constructed armored battle buses in their workshop to use against the Imagined Order, but there's still a lot of work to be done. The IO have captured 70% of the flip side and are closing in fast, so if they don't make a move soon, they will lose the island forever. The only thing standing in the way of the Imagined Order bulldozing the Seven is the most mysterious member of the group, the Origin. He's the field tactician and mastermind of all of the Seven's war plans. And on the surface, that's great until you learn his darkest secret that connects him to the cubes, the last reality, and makes him one of the most crucial characters in the history of Fortnite. To understand just how insane this is, let's bridge the gap between the past and present, where this all began August 24, 2018. A strange purple cube was zapped onto the Fortnite island without an explanation. The world looked on as it moved around, obliterating anything that got in its way. Bullets would also deflect off it, and don't even get me started on standing in its path. It seemed indestructible, but also kinda innocent, so we decided to nickname him Kevin. We had no idea at the time that this cube would be the spark that started 3 years worth of conflict that we are still feeling to this day. It moved around the island quickly, almost like it was looking for something, until eventually the cube sank into Loot Lake, and after a week passed, it looks like Kevin's journey was over, but it turns out it was only just beginning. The cube travels around the island powering his runes, which allows him to shoot a portal into the sky, unleashing his reality of cube monsters into the Fortnite world. But the cube alone can't create enough power to destroy the island, and so in a desperate last attempt, it implodes, causing a flash. We're teleported into this mysterious place, somehow saving us from the explosion. And while we now know we were inside of the 0 point, we returned almost instantly, feeling even more confused than before. All traces of the cube were now gone forever, or so we thought. In the time since, an organization known as the Imagined Order has taken control of the 0 point, conducting all of their operations from the bridge, the center of the two islands. They use the power of the 0 point to control the loop, a phenomenon that wipes the memory of anyone on the island, forcing them to fight each other over and over. One of these loopers is Raz, who is single-handedly responsible for everything that's about to unfold. One random night, an unknown voice calls to him in his dreams and convinces him to hunt out a certain artifact where he discovers a shard of the cube. The dark energy immediately corrupts him, and so the rest of the loopers are tasked with taking him down. But it's too late. He has accomplished his mission and they are coming. Dr. Sloan, a commander of the Imagined Order, steps up to the challenge and works with loopers to defend the island from the invasion. After seeing the Chimera abduct multiple POIs from the ground, she plants bombs inside of their base underneath corny crops and baits the mothership into abducting it. It doesn't take long for the bombs to get pulled straight inside the ship, and Operation Skyfire goes according to plan until the alien's darkest secret is revealed. The entire community was left speechless, a mothership full of cubes. And among them is a golden cube. But before we have time to think about it, Sloan detonates the bombs and we plummet towards the island. In an instant, the stakes have changed massively. A single cube was enough of a threat, but now there are thousands hurtling towards the map. This begins the battle over the island. The Imagined Order attempts to fight off the Cube Army, now known as the Last Reality. They are led by the Cube Queen, who emerges from her golden shell and begins to create a convergence of cubes above the 0 point. She knows that just Kevin wasn't enough. If they really want to destroy the Fortnite island, she needs the entire power of the Last Reality, and once they arrive, they will be the biggest threat the island has ever faced. So while the Imagine Order aren't doing anything to help the loopers, the 7 fly down to save and get them to the bridge. Their leader, the Foundation, along with former IO agent John Jones, head to the control center. The 7's plan to take down the Imagine Order begins by turning off the gyroscope, flipping the islands around in order to defeat the Cube Queen. They succeed, but not before the last reality gets one final blow, sending the 7 out of the bridge and into the ocean. The cubes have been defeated and the portal closed, postponing the threat of the last reality. It is now December 4, 2021, and while the Imagine Order prepares their counterattack, the 7 is vulnerable. Their group is completely split apart with multiple members missing. While the Origin and the Imagine will join the fight soon, for now, the island is only guarded by half of the group. During their plans to reunite, the scientist detects really odd activity coming from beneath the island. It's around this time that multiple Imagine Order scout teams arrive: Omega, Ryder, Dash, Epsilon, and Raven. They hollow out an entire mountain to construct Covert Cavern, while the 7 are hard at work getting in contact with the Paradigm. With the group one step closer to being reunited, they are ambushed by the Fortress. The reality war has officially started, and it's time the Origin lets us in on his battle plan so we can push back against the IO and free the loop. It's revealed to us that he was once known as the Cube King, the ruler of the last reality. The only thing we're told is that one day he ultimately realized their dark energy could only be used for evil, so he escaped, leaving his identity behind for a new life. This eventually led to him being captured by the Imagined Order, who would torture and abuse him in their custody, until one day the 7 broke in and held out a hand. He walked out of prison as the Origin and has been their field tactician ever since. He's in charge of the counter-offensive, and part of his battle plans have already unfolded. First, the Imagine helped loopers find the IO's agenda, while the scientists worked on a device to destroy the build jammers, ruining Dr. Sun's plan and bringing builds back to the loop. Most of the 7 appear to be suspicious of the Imagine, claiming she is up to something. The Origin even labels her as insubordinate, because she's working behind the scenes to help the scientists bring Paradigm back. Now, we don't know what the drama is between the 7 and the Paradigm, but the situation is causing a lot of problems. Instead of focusing on the war, the group are fighting amongst themselves, while the Imagine Order gets stronger every single day. It looks like the 7's problems aren't just coming from Sloane and her army. They also need to work out the conflicts between each other. While the Origin is trying to forget his past, the Imagine can't even remember hers. She's been trying to figure out the details of her own life, which is possibly connected to the Paradigm, which is why she says she'll find it with or without the Foundation. The Imagine's description states that her past is the key to our future, meaning whatever past she is trying to uncover is going to be super important in the finale of this war. The 7 are attempting to push back the territories of the IO and eventually shrink them down to just the middle of the island. As they take back the land, they'll also take control of the IO's tanks and outposts, painting over them with a new theme. The blimps won't get the same treatment. They'll be completely destroyed instead, crashing into POIs like tilted towers. While the 7 are plotting their next move, the IO might just be one step ahead. Over on the other side of the island, the bones of the Devourer have been uncovered, and IO trucks have moved in surrounding it. This is even more evidence for the theory that the Imagine Order are experimenting with the DNA of these bones, and might even try to clone the monster or bring it back to life. Some new information has surfaced which could confirm this theory for good. Storyline experts have analyzed the path of the earthquakes from Season 1 and have made a huge connection between the Command Cavern vault and the location of the Devourer. If you listen closely to this vault, you can hear weird metallic sounds and dripping noises. Some theorize that after the invasion, the IO imprisoned Klombos, but it's looking more likely that there's a much more sinister dinosaur behind this door. With the Paradigm being confirmed as the pilot of the 7, some people think this is further evidence that she is actually Singularity from Chapter 1, who piloted the Mecha Team leader. If the monster comes back, she'll be forced to suit up again. We might be on the verge of the final Showdown 2.0, the 7 still haven't reunited, and we are counting on Old Man Jonesy to protect the 0 point. I guess we'll find out more about that in the next episode of Fortnite Storyline Explained.